Good morning. It is 9 a.m. on this Friday, and that means it's time for this edition of the Weather Desk. I'm 13 News Now meteorologist Craig Moeller. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm glad you found us here on the 13 News Now Plus app, and we stream this all around the country and all around the world. And that's a good thing because we've got a lot to cover today, and I want to jump right into some of our headlines. All right, so we have impacts from the eastern U.S. storm. We had a big storm system, some snow, some ice, and another round of severe weather last night and early this morning here in the mid-Atlantic. And I'll tell you, I am located here in southeast Virginia, serving the southeastern part of the Commonwealth of Virginia, northeast North Carolina, Virginia Beach, Norfolk. That's where we're located. We had storms here overnight, but there were some severe storms out across parts of Tennessee. We'll show you that. The other issue, the West Coast flooding, and it has turned deadly around the San Francisco Bay Area. We've got a story on that. And 1 month ago today, the wildfires broke out in Southern California, L.A., and then down into the San Diego area. They had the wildfires eventually that way, the risks as well. So a lot to talk about as we look back over the last month, and we'll give you the latest on what's happening right now. Coming up, Ginger Z has a great story on how climate change is affecting our seasons. You know, we have what we typically associate, the weather we typically associate with our seasons, as they've been for the last several decades, but we are noticing some differences. And if you're interested in that, you definitely want to stay tuned. We'll have more on that. And then as we look out over the coming week, there are some differences in our forecast models, and it's really interesting. They're going to kind of square off. We'll see which one's right. I'm going to show you a couple of them, talk about the differences and the forecast confidence as we look forward. Chances certainly cooler into early next week, but could we see some snow in the mid-Atlantic and from parts of the eastern U.S.? We'll talk more about that coming up. I also have some video we're going to share with you a little bit later in the program on some really dramatic flash flooding out of Peru. So you definitely want to see that. It's unbelievable when you see the water coming up like this. And then something special here in Virginia Beach. There's the Cool School Challenge. I'll tell you what the kids are doing and why they are running into the frigid ocean waters today around noon. So a lot to get to. Let's start off, though, with a look at this storm system and what it's been doing here in the eastern U.S. This is a big storm system. Again, area of low pressure up there, trailing front. Look at this, an outbreak right there. We had some really rough weather last night, a tornado confirmed as we take a look at the eastern U.S. Not only has it been the rough weather just last night, but the setup to that, the snow and ice from across the area. So let's take this full, and I want to go ahead and give you a chance to hear more about what's been going on in the eastern United States. This has been over the past couple of days. This dangerous storm over the eastern U.S. has caused a lot of headaches across a number of states. There was a reported tornado about 2 hours just off to the east of Nashville last night, damaging buildings and bringing down trees. Officials say there is a loss of life and about 1,000 people were without power. That storm struck after the icy mix fell, causing dozens of accidents across the Midwest and the Northeast. And another winter blast is on the way. ABC's Lionel Moise has the latest.
This morning, road crews are out in force after a mix of snow and rain made for scary driving conditions in the Northeast. Near Cumberland, Maine, I-95 brought to a standstill after multiple accidents.
Always have a small shovel, salt, any high protein snacks, anything that's going to keep you calm and warm.
About a half an hour outside of Boston, this tractor trailer crashing and rolling over. In central Pennsylvania, energy drinks spilled along the road after this Amazon truck overturned. And now another storm is making its way across the country after dumping heavy mountain snow and flooding rains in the west. At least 2 people are dead in Sonoma, California, where heavy rain triggered landslides and destroyed multiple homes. Several people have been rescued throughout the state.
We did 10 swiftwater rescues.
The Marin County Sheriff's Office releasing this video showing the dramatic rescue of a woman who lost control, spun out on a wet road, and became trapped in a flooded creek.
Are you in there? Where are you in the back?
That deputy breaking the back window and pulling the woman to safety. Lionel Moise, ABC News, New York.
Lots of trouble there with that system on the East Coast. As we look out to the West Coast, it's a different situation. A lot of rain. We talked about record flooding rain in the San Francisco Bay Area, and then the rain started down across Southern California, and there were additional concerns there. So severe storms and flooding, unfortunately, in the San Francisco Bay Area have now turned deadly. So we continue to watch this near San Francisco. Both deaths happened in Sonoma County during heavy rains and road closures. Cornell Barnard from ABC San Francisco has the details.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Going through those floods, you don't know what's down there. So, yeah, pretty sad.
Neighbors reacting to the tragic death of a man who drowned in deep floodwaters on Sanford Road outside Sebastopol. The road has been closed for several days. First responders getting assistance from the National Guard using a high water vehicle like this one for the search.
This person they were not in a vehicle. They were on foot, it looked like, and there was a bike located near that individual.
On Wednesday morning, Sonoma County sheriffs and fire personnel found a deceased man stuck in a drain culvert on Franz Valley Road in eastern Santa Rosa. At this point, authorities aren't sure how the man died.
In the last 72 hours, we did 10 swiftwater rescues.
Sonoma County Fire swiftwater rescue teams busy coming to the rescue of stranded motorists and pedestrians after a week of epic rainfall.
We try to close off roads. We put out our messaging, don't drive through flooded roadways, turn around, don't drown. And people still, unfortunately, don't heed the warnings.
Meantime, all eyes on a Santa Rosa hillside where a mudslide cascaded onto a home, trapping Robert Boyd's family for a time until rescue crews arrived. He got a call from his wife.
She was obviously panicking. She didn't know she could get out. But it was just scary. Yeah, very scary.
16 homes near Deer Trail Court are under evacuation warnings, while city and county crews monitor the hillside for stability.
We're in communication with one another to make sure the community knows what's happening. They understand that, yes, monitoring is taking place and there's a plan in place in the event that something happens. That's why those warnings are in place, similar to what we do for a wildfire.
Take a look at that, the swiftwater rescues, and they were making the point in that story, when you see flooded roadways, turn around, don't drown. It's so important. Even if you think you know the depth of the water that you're attempting to cross, that substrate, what's holding the road, or the materials that the road are made of, it can be weakened by even a little bit of moving water, and it can be weaker. So if you drive and you think you're going through a foot of water or maybe a foot and a half, which still isn't a good idea, but if you think, oh, I've got a truck or what, I can make it through that, and all of a sudden that road gets softer or you lose where you are and you start to slide, all of a sudden it gets deeper, people do drown. So that's why we really, really impress upon folks, you don't play games with floodwater, stay away from it, and do not take chances. Now, this next story is a perfect example of why you should take flash flood warnings seriously. The south of Peru got 5 hours of heavy rainfall yesterday. When it became too much for the city's storm drain, floodwaters rushed out without a moment's notice. Take a look at this. The flood surge rushed into the streets, picking up branches, stones, mud, and entire trees with it. The city's stream bed overflowed as well, causing more floods throughout the area. The Regional Emergency Operations Center declared an alert and is now working to protect homes and assess the damage. Just incredible to see that video. All right, we mentioned today marks, and I'm going to step over and bring it down to the southern part of California. Today marks the 1 month anniversary. Let me step out of the picture here because I do want to show you down in LA, they're catching a little bit of a break, but we are now 1 month away from the beginning of those deadly Los Angeles County wildfires that broke out. You see how the ground's been parched. They're in extreme drought across Southern California, and there have been so many issues to exacerbate the wildfires and the fire danger there. Well, for the first time, a major utility company is shedding light about the role its equipment could have played in the fires. And we're seeing new video of the race to safety. ABC's Andrea Fujii has the details.
Dramatic new images show the devastating Eaton fire in Southern California that killed at least 17 people.
Building's on fire, man. We gotta go.
The Pasadena Police Department releasing this video showing first responders evacuating seniors from a nursing home in Altadena, carefully getting them to safety. That facility was later destroyed by the flames. And now we are learning more about the possible cause of that fire. Southern California Edison says it is looking into whether an idle transmission line became energized and possibly sparked the deadly blaze. Altadena residents at the time reported seeing flames at a group of transmission towers.
When we saw it, it was just at the base of the tower. And within minutes, it had spread.
40 lawsuits have now been filed against the utility company, claiming its power lines are to blame. Southern California Edison saying in a statement, while we do not yet know what caused the Eaton wildfire, SCE is exploring every possibility in its investigation, including the possibility that SCE's equipment was involved. But on Thursday, Southern California Edison did admit its equipment likely sparked the Hearst fire, a smaller wildfire in Los Angeles that burned nearly 800 acres. Back at the Eaton fire, that harrowing footage shows police kicking down doors to ensure residents got to safety as the out-of-control fire closed in. Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
We're going to talk about the change in our seasons. You know, the Earth makes its path around the sun each year, and due to the Earth's tilt, different parts of the Earth are hit with the direct light, the direct sunlight from the sun, and that uneven heating of the Earth brings about our changing seasons. We have the vernal equinox in the spring. We've got the summer solstice, the autumnal equinox. This happens year after year. But as our world warms and our climate changes, you may have noticed that the seasons look a little bit different than they did maybe a few decades ago. ABC News chief climate correspondent Ginger Z has more.
Longer, hotter summers, shorter, milder winters, earlier spring blooms, and later fall and winter freezes. This is what seasonal shifts can look like. And scientists have been studying these changes for years. According to the EPA, heat wave season is 47 days longer than in 1961. Wildfire season is starting earlier than it did in the 1980s. Spring snowpack has declined since 1955, now peaking at an average of 9 days earlier. And the growing season is 2 weeks longer overall than it was in 1985.
There is some pronounced seasonality in general within the states. That winter, particularly in northern states and particularly Alaska, is warming much faster than summer, on the order of twice as much, and even more so in some states like here in Minnesota.
And more extreme heat days mean more risk to people's health, especially people over 65 and children. Heat kills more people in the U.S. than any other kind of weather. A recent study in the Journal of the American Medical Association showed a 117% increase in heat-related deaths in the last 2.5 decades.
The number of days where you get into heat indexes that are dangerous for human health and for the health of livestock and crops also increase. And that's something that cities and states are having to deal with already and will need to be thinking about going forward as we project increasing temperatures. That the amount of warming is only dependent on the path we choose as a country and as a global society on how much carbon we continue to emit in coming years and decades.
Shifting seasons also impacts our economy. Businesses that depend on certain seasons, like ski resorts, have been losing money because of the shorter seasons and less snow. And a National Academy of Sciences report found that for every degree of warming, there's the potential for a 5 to 15% decrease in crop yields. While some crops might thrive with a longer growing season, increased temperatures, pests, and pressures on the water supply can change that potential. And this isn't just happening in the U.S. Climate change is impacting communities globally, and curbing its most acute impacts will take worldwide collective action.
Weather and climate in the United States doesn't just originate in our country, and there are these broader hemisphere scale or global connections in how we are seeing the climate change. So we're not just isolated here in the United States.
With this Climate Minute, I'm Ginger Z.
So we continue to watch, and we will continue to keep you updated as we get more and more climate information. Really appreciate that report from Ginger Z. Right now, we're going to take a look at the forecast, and we're going to get into the models and what they are suggesting about the coming week, not just for Hampton Roads, but for much of the country here. We'll have an expanded view to show some big differences with next week's storm systems that are coming up. For today, we have plenty of sunshine in the mid-Atlantic, and this is for Hampton Roads. Temperatures upper 50s, and notice how they kind of fall off a little bit later this afternoon. Inland areas are going to be warmer, so if you are watching from southeast Virginia or northeast North Carolina and you live a little farther off the coast, it is going to be much warmer. Some areas up into the 60s, low to mid 60s, so it will be nicer there. You look at our temperature changes over the coming 10 days, and you can see warm today, cooler tomorrow, 44, back up to 62 on Sunday, and then much colder Sunday afternoon into Sunday night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, below average temperatures, maybe some rain, snow mix, and that's where we're going to really focus on those extended models. I'll show you a couple of them and how they are similar and how they are not agreeing so much. So you'll get a look at both of those. All right, we take a look at Thursday, and we start to warm it back up. Temperatures close to average the following weekend. I do want to show you through the third week of February, the 15th through the 21st, you can see temperatures are expected to be above normal, certainly for the southeast U.S. and the southern tier of the country. But even up through the mid-Atlantic, we expect temperatures to be a little bit above average. And then it's going to be a little cooler across the northern tier relative to what they would typically expect. Let's take a look now at what's going on with our forecast. We had the showers and the storms roll through. There will be chances for stray showers. We're going to start off by looking at the chances of precipitation. Again, this is around Hampton Roads. You can see we're dry through the afternoon. Lots of sunshine, beautiful. Chances for rain increase through the middle part of the day on Saturday. After that, it goes back down. Again, this is based on one of our models, the graph model. And you can see, again, Hampton Roads looking good through the afternoon. Right here, as we go through the coming days, though, we're going to see some big differences coming up. I mentioned today is going to be warm, but tomorrow, look at the graph producing a little bit of snow or rain-snow mix. Now, some of this initially is going to have a hard time reaching the ground because the low levels of the atmosphere are very, very dry. So as we get things started, we might see a few returns. If you're looking at your mobile app, say, oh, I see the radar and it shows that it's raining. Well, it's not quite making it down to the ground yet. I think that's going to be the case early tomorrow morning. There will be a few sprinkles possible, but the chances for showers will increase a little bit later in the day. And again, you'll notice these temperatures have been staying above freezing at the surface. So what falls aloft, there might be a little bit of colder air that's drawn down. There could be some wet snowflakes in the mix, maybe even a few sleet pellets or something like that off to the north. But basically, we're looking at a mix potentially off to the north, rain showers for the metro area. As we continue through the afternoon, that's at noon, scattered showers, maybe a little bit of light mix, still above freezing, all of those northern locations. And then as we get into the evening, temperatures, they're going to remain in the low 40s near the coast, a little cooler to the north. The rain showers will be exiting. Here's what I want to show you. This is where things get a lot more interesting. Saturday night, 11 o'clock, we've got the southwest flow. So typically overnight, going into an early morning, you'd expect the temperatures to drop. In this case, much warmer air is moving in. The door is open with the southwest flow. We're going to see the temperatures increasing overnight. And Sunday morning, 6 a.m., I expect temperatures to be in the mid-50s as we get the day started. Some areas closer to 60 down to the south. So it will be warmer on Sunday relative to Saturday. And then we're going to be watching to see what happens with the front. Now, it's interesting. As a matter of fact, why don't we take this full? I'm going to go back and just show something here. I'm going to have to jog this back. I'm doing this manually on the fly here, but I want you to see something that just popped up. I've got this pause point at 11 a.m. on Sunday, and you'll notice the temperatures, this particular model is already cooling us back in the 40s. That may be a little aggressive, but as I go back just a little bit, okay, as we get to right around there, it was at 55 at 8:15. Coming forward a little bit, we start to warm. I know I saw a 60 pop up in there. Anyway, the bottom line is you're going to see some temperatures spiking, I think, into the low 60s, and then it's going to turn cooler depending on how quickly that colder air comes in. That is for our Sunday. So we're going to see clearing skies later Sunday, and it is going to turn colder late Sunday and into Sunday night, early Monday morning. Now we're going to take a look at how the models handle the weather a little differently. And I've got this on a wider picture because I know a lot of you may be tuning in from other parts of the area, not just Hampton Roads, but maybe you're watching from the Carolinas, or maybe you're up around Maryland or Pennsylvania and you found us here on the 13 Plus app, 13 News Now Plus app. We're glad you're here. I want to give you the broad picture. Now, into Monday, chances for showers. This is the European model, and you can see how it kind of has that wet weather really down across the Carolinas, less activity to the north. All right, we've got another system out here. You can see the trough here with some unsettled weather. This kind of moving along. Again, the Euro says, okay, some more rain into early Tuesday, but eventually it brings the moisture through our area. A little bit warmer solution here with kind of a warm up right along the coast, a little cold air wedge back towards the mountains here, and we've got some colder air with snow across Pennsylvania, Maryland, northern parts of Virginia up into New Jersey. We're going to continue to watch that, but this is a warmer solution Tuesday with rain across the area. Beyond that, we go into our Wednesday, and again, you see the chances for snow off to the north. Another bigger storm system producing snow Wednesday across the Midwest, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri. The system tracking through some stronger storms, perhaps down across parts of Arkansas into Louisiana, moving along with the system. But this next low tracks off to the northeast, really strengthens. Again, this is the European model, and it means more rain with this warmer solution, this warmer scenario for Hampton Roads. You can see how the Euro takes you into Thursday. Big storm system centered not too far from Pittsburgh there in western PA. And again, snow back across the Great Lakes, maybe a wintry mix from Boston all the way back down towards Memphis. There's going to be that cut line between the rain and the storms and then the snow off to the north. That's the next system. That's going to be a big one for next week, potentially, if the European model is correct. And then you see it continues to move off to the northeast there as we go later in the day on Thursday. Again, snow mix, more wintry weather impacting Maine all the way down through Kentucky and West Virginia. Eventually it pulls out, and late Thursday evening we start to see the relief. All right, that's the one model. That's the European model. Now we look at the GFS. This is the U.S. model, or the American model. And as we look, you can see it has a different scenario for Monday. Now, keep in mind, the Euro had a little bit of rain down to the south. The GFS says, the moisture is going to be a little farther north, and it's going to be colder Monday morning. Now, I will tell you, the forecast lows for Norfolk officially going into early Monday should be in the mid to upper 30s. We're going to be above freezing. Most of the areas should be a little bit above freezing. So if this moisture comes in, we're going to need some colder air in place for this to work out. But this is what the GFS is doing. And again, the moisture eventually kind of settles to the south, similar to the European. But look at this, that next storm system. Again, the Euro picked up on this one as well. It's bringing the moisture in, and it's got a colder scenario where, in this case, we would have more significant snow across parts of central Virginia, maybe some parts of southeast Virginia and areas off to the north, rain across south side Hampton Roads and much of North Carolina. Heavy rain, storms again, back across parts of Arkansas into Mississippi and Louisiana, and then that snow across the northern tier of the system. All right, that's the U.S. model, the GFS, and you can see how it tracks along. Wednesday, mainly rain, but maybe a little bit of mix. This is a much colder scenario. So the Euro had the track of these lows a little farther to the north, and it was more rain than anything else. The next system coming in, that big one that we were just showing you on the Euro that was going to stretch out, you can see how this is tracking in early Thursday, mix across Virginia. Again, that colder air a little farther south with the U.S. Solution, and then it does eventually lift to the north. But both the models agree that there will be unsettled weather and the potential for some major impacts through the middle to end of next week across parts of the northeast U.S. and the central U.S. We'll be watching for that. And then again, more rain coming in Friday, maybe some snow or mix just off to our north and up through Maryland, southern parts of, well, Delaware, and then southern parts of New Jersey as well. That too exiting on Friday. you see the model differences. So how about our confidence meters? How confident are we? Well, precipitation type for Hampton Roads specifically, I'm going to say it's low to moderate, whether or not we see any snow. Now, I will say both of the models are projecting a series of storm systems, and I'll talk more about the timing and all of this later on. There are going to be some areas that we are sure will get rain. Some areas we are sure are likely to get wintry weather. But for the mid-Atlantic, right across Hampton Roads and Southeast Virginia, there is still some issues with confidence. It's not very high at this point. And again, we are 3, 4, 5 days out, and the models just have that difference on whether it's going to be the European model that wins out, it's a little warmer, or if it's the GFS and it's a colder solution. So still questions on that. We'll hopefully get that to bounce up here as we get a few more runs in. Snow totals, moderate confidence here towards high. Temperatures should be warm enough for little, if any, snow around Norfolk specifically. Off to the north, though, there may be some potential for not only mixed precipitation, but maybe a little bit of snow up there. So we're going to continue to watch for that. I'll say again, moderate to high confidence that we won't see a tremendous amount of snow in Southeast Virginia based on how things look now. But I'm not saying high confidence yet because there is still some possibility we could get some more frozen precipitation in that mix. That's what we're watching. Now, as far as the timing goes, here we're moderate to high because the models are more consistent. You just showed you 2 of them, that it is going to be a very active pattern. So after Sunday, with those falling temps late in the day on Sunday, I do expect wet weather to come in Monday. And, you know, again, will it be wintry? Will it be rainy? We'll see. But it does look like we're going to get that arrival of some moisture on Monday, and then that unsettled weather for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and potentially Friday as well. Pretty unsettled upcoming week as things look right now. All right, across the south side today, look at the range of temperatures. We're going to see upper 50s near the coast and falling off into the mid 50s this afternoon, mid 60s inland. Plenty of sunshine. We had showers and a few thunderstorms came rumbling through early through the overnight. That stuff's gone now. Skies have cleared. Beautiful Friday. Folks getting ready for the weekend, no doubt. Upper 50s to low 60s on the peninsula. Middle peninsula, Gloucester around 58 through the afternoon, 53 at Matthews. Also a little cooler, low 50s over on the eastern shore. Down across northeast North Carolina, upper 60s. We'll see closer to 60 at Kill Level Hills and Manio, so a little cooler right there at the Outer Banks. Overnight tonight, the low near 38. We're going to see increasing clouds. It will be chilly overnight. And then tomorrow, we'll see that chance for precipitation. Mainly rain showers, but maybe a little bit of mixing, as I showed you, off to the north, the northernmost parts of the 13 News Now viewing area, up around the middle peninsula, the northern neck, over to the eastern shore. You may find a few wet snowflakes or a couple sleet pellets trying to mix in. Surface temperatures, though, are expected to be above freezing. Even our coolest areas off to the north should be in the mid to upper 30s. So that's how things look based on what I'm seeing right now. I strongly encourage you to check back with the 13 News Now weather team for updates to the forecast, especially into next week. Taylor Stephenson is going to be covering the duties today at noon and at 4 o'clock, and Hunter Forst will be in with the evening coverage tonight. And of course, I'll have more coverage for you through the weekend. All right, so we have scattered showers tomorrow, maybe some mixing to the north. As we go into Sunday, a little bit warmer, but that's deceiving because that's earlier in the day with falling temps, turning cooler late Sunday. Chilly on Monday, should stay above freezing, but we're going to be watching that. And again, some rain or snow could mix in. I think we'll see a little something there on Monday. How much? We will continue to pin down. Cold rain likely on Tuesday, and then rain likely Wednesday into Thursday and beyond that. All right, something I'm really excited about coming up, the Cool School Challenge. What are we doing? Well, it's the students' chance to participate in the polar plunge. And today at noon, live from the Virginia Beach oceanfront, I am going to be doing the countdown and sending the kids off into the water. Over 600 students participated in last year's Cool School Challenge. I have a few more kind of fun facts to share with you in a moment here. The water temperature this morning at Virginia Beach, 42 degrees. So while it feels like it's in the mid 50s there at the beaches, as soon as they hit the water, it's going to be quick shock. there's safety teams out there. There's Navy divers. There's first responders. They've got all the heavy diving gear and the cold water gear to make sure there's a safety barrier out there for the kids. But I'll tell you, having done this at the ocean front a few years back, it is a shock to the system for sure. Kids love it. I think the adults got to be a little crazy to want to run into 42 degrees, but it's for a wonderful cause. That's at noon today at the Virginia Beach ocean front. Let's talk about some of these fun facts with the Cool School Challenge. This is the 15th annual Cool School Challenge. 13 News Now is proud to be a media sponsor, and I'm happy to get to MC the big party that they had before and to count down sending the kids into the water. They've done 33 of these polar plunges in Virginia Beach, so it's an exciting thing they've been doing. In 2023, over 600 students raised over $90,000. So a lot of money raised, and the funds support Special Olympics of Virginia. So it really is an incredible cause. We'll be posting some images and pictures out there on social media. You can find me there on Facebook at Craig Moeller, Instagram Craig Moeller TV, and on X at 13 Craig Moeller. Now, if you want to stay in touch with the forecast, I highly recommend you download our 13 News Now app. There's the QR code. You see it there on the screen. Just download the scan that code and download the app. It's a free app. You'll be in touch with our news coverage, our weather updates, our live streams, and if there are any warnings or anything that are issued, you'd always get special coverage from us right there. The 13 News Now app, a great way to stay in touch with our news team here in Southeast Virginia and Northeast North Carolina. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Weather Desk. A lot going on. Looks like next week's going to be a busy one. So make plans to join me again next Monday. I'll be back at 9 a.m. with the top weather stories and headlines of the day. And even when I'm not here, we have our entire weather team, our colleagues. We can all jump in and do this. But the bottom line is we are giving you the weather information you want and you need to know about, the big stories, and we will continue to bring it to you right here from the Weather Desk. Have a great weekend.